The US dollar has long been the world's dominant reserve currency. But is its reign coming to an end? Today we are diving deep into how the BRICS nation, namely Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, could potentially dethrone the US dollar as the global currency of choice. Let's break it down. For decades, the US dollar has been the king of the global currencies. It's the currency used in the international trade, held in the central bank by nearly every country, and even the benchmark for commodities like oil. But as the world shifts, it's the dollar's dominance being challenged. In the post World War II era, the US economy became the largest and most influential in the world. The dollar status as the reserve currency was solidified by the Bretton Woods system in 1944. Fast forward to today, and while the dollar still dominates, things are changing. So, who exactly are the BRICS nation? Well, it's an economic bloc made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Together, they represent over 40% of the global population and about 25% of the global GDP. That's a pretty big chunk of the world's economy. These countries have been increasingly collaborating on political, economic, and trade issues, challenging the dominance of the Western powers, particularly the US. But it's not about geopolitics, it's about currency. BRICS has been talking about alternatives to the US dollars for years. They have even started taking steps to create a new reserve currency, a currency that's not tied to US or the Eurozone. This includes using their own currencies in trade agreements and discussing the creation of a shared BRICS currency, possibly backed by a basket of commodities or precious metals. In fact, BRICS has been actively creating a financial network that could eventually rival the Western led financial system like the IMF or the World Bank. They are even setting up new development bank to fund the project without relying on the dollar-based financial system. Now let's focus on China. China's economy is the second largest in the world, and they are making moves to push the Chinese yuan as the international currency. China has been buying gold reserves, forming trade deals that doesn't involve the dollar, and pushing the yuan to be used as a global trade. China has already taken steps to make the yuan as a part of IMF's SDRs, and more currencies are starting to use the yuan for trade, especially in the energy markets. So it's clear the yuan is positioning itself as a real contender to the dollar's throne. But it is not just China that's driving the push away from the dollar. The BRICS nations have been exploring the possibilities of a collective BRICS currency. This currency could be a basket of the BRICS nations' own currencies like the Brazilian real, Russian ruble, Indian rupees, Chinese yuan, and South African rand, backed by assets like gold or other commodities. If they succeed, this could create a multipolar reserve currency system, reducing the global economic reliance on any one nation's currency. This could give BRICS nation an economic power on the world's stage. But it is not just traditional currencies that are shaking up the global finance system. Cryptocurrencies and digital currencies are also entering the conversation about alternatives to the US dollar. While digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum are still relatively volatile, they represent a decentralized financial alternative that does not rely on the US dollar. Like El Salvador have even adopted Bitcoin as a legal tender. Meanwhile, China is testing the digital yuan, also called ECNY, as a state-backed alternative which could eventually be used in the international trade. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Dethroning the US dollar is easier said than done. The US dollar benefits from its liquidity, stability, and the fact that it's deeply entrenched into the global finance system. The US also has immense soft power and military influence, which help maintain the US dollar's dominance. For BRICS to dethrone the dollar, it would require a complete overhaul of the global finance system, and that's not something that's happening overnight. A shift away from the dollar could have massive implications. On one hand, it could lead to more economic independence for countries outside the Europe and US. On the other hand, it could increase geopolitical tensions. The US, for example, might view this as a challenge to the global influence and retaliate with sanctions and other economic tools. Additionally, this move would force the world to adjust to a new set of economic rules, one where countries might not need to hold the US Treasury bonds or rely on American financial institutes for transactions. So, could the BRICS dethrone the US dollar? The short answer, it is possible, but not likely in the immediate future. The US dollar still has a strong hold of the global markets, but the world is changing with the rise of digital currencies. A shift towards decentralization is happening. It is just a question how quick and to what extent the BRICS will be able to build an alternative financial system to replace the dollar. A transition will be long and a bumpy road, and the US might remain the dominant currency for few years or even decades. But the fact that countries are even discussing it's a sign that the world is looking for alternative. What do you think? Will the BRICS nations succeed in creating a new global currency? How will this affect on you and the economy? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into global economies. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.